Hey everybody, it's Sarah Saxby, your transformation coach at Strategies for Happiness, author of Comfortable Hell and Guide to a New Way Forward. So today I want to talk about I like to bring things back that I've talked about before, but I like to mention maybe a different story or, maybe something else that happened to see how it resonates with you all. But it has to do with, being true to ourselves again and moments where we don't speak up and it actually causes the behavior to continue or that person to keep on doing whatever that person's doing. And if you've noticed, like most people have, it seems as though a lot of things are being exposed these days, right? It's like the light is being shined in every corner of the world. And it also means that it's not just the world and things, like corruption and all these things that are coming out, but it's also like internal corruption. And what I mean by that is how you've been lying to yourself. That's what I consider internal corruption. And everyone has wounds in a different place. My wounds aren't like yours and yours aren't like mine, and we have different strengths and things like that. But if you look at, through astrology or human design or whatever resonates with you, like you can see where your wounds are, but eventually you'll be able to feel them yourself. And it's usually something that we refuse to address. I know when I was younger, and they show up in patterns in your life too. So, for me, astrologically speaking, for those of you that know this, like my Chiron's in Aries in the 10th house, right? So what that means is that it's all about who I am as a person. And the 10th house is like career and public image. So I have felt a lot of wounds when it comes to my career. I've always felt like I'm not good enough to be here. And, you can pay me as little money as you possibly want because I'm not worth any more than that. So anyone who, I'm speaking to those of you who feel this also, it's like you continue to just go, pattern after pattern. Cycle, the cycles continue. And for me, every job that I've had, it's like I've been threatened or abused in some way. I mean, I remember I worked at a law firm where the person, I was this kid basically who worked with a couple of girls that were older than me. And I was bored, so I would ask them, is there anything I can help you with? And I got called into HR, and this girl threatened me. She literally threatened me and said she wanted to fire me because I'm trying to steal everyone's job. And I just started crying. I didn't even stick up for myself. And she was like, stop with the crocodile tears. It's all bullshit. And, she was literally... She told me, she would call me in and tell me I wasn't allowed to talk to certain people, like certain guys that she was attracted to in the office. And she's, and I allowed this to happen. It's like, she would call me in and just threaten me. And I never said anything. And every single job I had since then, it always came up, the same kind of thing came up where I wouldn't even speak up. I mean, regardless of the outcome, I would just let this behavior continue. And these people knew that they could do this to me, and I never said anything. And, if you look at another way where these come up, I think, where these wounds come up is where you look and you really appreciate something about someone else, like something that you sort of envy in someone else, like a quality, right? And one thing that I always thought was really super cool in other women was how they respected their worth. And, like if a salary was offered to them in like an interview, they'd be like, no, I need XYZ. And it was a ton more, and they would get it. Or, if somebody said something like in a meeting and you see this person's, maybe repeating what was said and saying, I need clarity about that. And I could never do that. I mean, that was never a thing for me. Because I was afraid that, people wouldn't like me. I was afraid that I would, lose my job or Who knows? But I just had such little self-worth that you could trample on me in any way that you wanted. And the crazy thing is, and a lot of you might understand what I'm saying here, is that my personality is a complete paradox. It's like this duality where anyone who I ever tell this to, like when I tell people what happened in past relationships, when I tell people what happened at, the jobs that I've had, they always say, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I even told my kids and they're like, "Mom, I could never imagine you, anyone talking to you like that or you putting up with anything like that." And I'm like, I know. So it's like, you look like this super strong person who speaks up and holds people accountable, but really behind the scenes, all I was doing was letting people say stuff to me. And it was only certain situations, because in other situations, I might be able to really stand up for myself. I certainly could stand up for other people, right? That was not a problem at all because other people are worth it. I wasn't. But it was like this secret. And that's why, I think I don't know if I have a blog that's like, your secret's no longer safe with me, or our secret is no longer safe with me, because it felt like these little secrets that you keep with certain people, based on your wound and based on what your fear is, this emotional wound that you've been protecting all your life. It's like you have this secret with someone, and that person has their issues too, right? And it sort of intertwines with yours, and you create this dynamic that keeps on going if you allow it. And these other people that I had interactions with for sure have their stories too, right? They have their experiences and their filters and whatever, their perspectives, for sure. But this is mine, and this is built for me. And this is all of those things happened to me so that I could finally do something different about it. And this has been going on for years and years and years. And I've always done the same exact thing, which is just cry, reiterate that I'm worthless, agree with whoever's saying it, basically. By not saying anything, without speaking up or saying anything, you're agreeing to whatever that person is saying or doing to you, right? And so I agreed with them. If that HR person was telling me to stop crying, you're this and you're that I agreed with her. I agreed with her by not saying anything. I was too afraid. And I certainly didn't think that I was more worthy than her. And unfortunately and fortunately, like I'm at the point now, finally in my life, where I don't have a choice. The light is shining in every corner of me. And it's like now it's one of those, shit or get off the pot situations where I don't want that cycle to happen anymore. And this is what I do when I work with people is I love to get down to, those wounds and how we can break the cycle of our repetitive behavior, because I feel like I don't have that option anymore. I feel like I just don't want this next year to be the same as the other year. I don't want it to be a little bit better. I want it to be fantastic. And the only way that I can do that is to realize that, I truly am a powerful person. My only goal is to help people. I want to help people change the way they feel about themselves. And I'm doing that by finally being authentic and speaking my truth and holding people accountable that are doing these things. And, I have to be brave enough to face the same. If somebody does that to me, it's all about courage. The upcoming year is courage. And are you willing to be brave enough to stop the cycles in your life, to know that you are just as worthy as anyone else, and to speak your truth, to stop lying to yourself every day, like we are. Let me know what you think. Sarah at Strategies for Happiness. Leave, a comment by all means. You guys, if I can do this, you can do this, and you're strong enough to do it. And this is the way forward. So let's do it. Thanks, guys.